when I was 13, my mom took me to the radio station. Well, what was happening was that one of the AM stations was playing these what they called I don't even remember what they called them, but they called them a specific type of a mix. So there was this crew that said they were from New York, but weren't. They were actually from right here where I'm living now, Columbia, Maryland. That uh would do like a mixes of certain songs. So like the one that was really popular was their mix of Magic Wand by Houdini. And they would take all of these other records and mix them on top of Magic Wand and made this like 7-minute masterpiece. And I'm like, I can do that, you know. So I literally with my one turntable at the time and my pause button tape deck put together a mix of I think it was Orbits and The Beat Goes On. So I did that, put it together, and begged my mother to take me to the radio stations. I guess my grades were good enough at the time that she felt like she wanted to do something. So she took me. I laid the cassette tape into the hands of the announcer, who was a guy named Randy Dennis. And when I saw him, like I said, I was a weird kind of kid. I mean, I think I was in Catholic school at the time. And I'm here with looking with my little necktie, walking into the radio station with this real cool dude, that like looks at me and says, "Yeah, man. So what is it you got for me there?" So I gave him. I said, "Look, I got this mix. It's pretty good." He's like, "All right, man. I'll give it a listen and I'll get back to you." All right, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I went home. And the ritual was that we would come home from school every day because WEBB was a station that went off at dusk. So it would come on in the morning at dawn and go off at dusk. So doesn't matter what time. Well, it mattered what time of year it was because in the summertime we got to listen longer. In the wintertime, when it came to be around, the middle of December or something, we would come home and we would only have like an hour or so or a couple of hours to listen to it because, when the sun went down, the station was over. So, man, we rushed home like the day after. I gave him the tape. Now, I didn't expect anything at all. I actually didn't even expect to hear from the guy. But man, I got home and immediately turned on the radio and my mix was playing as soon as I hit the door. And I said, "Oh, wait a minute." I was absolutely blown away, excited. And I'm calling the radio station. Of course, if you know anything about trying to call a radio station back then, I had to call and call and call and call and call and call and call. And by the time I got through, he was like, "Oh, so you that dude that dropped that tape off to me yesterday?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He's like, "Well, man, you're pretty good. What's the name of your crew?" I'm like, "Crew?" I'm like, "It's only me." So I looked at my Numark mixer, just like I'm looking at my Pioneer mixer right now. If this Pioneer mixer was sitting in front of me back then, the name of the group would have been the Pioneers. But I looked at my Numark mixer. I said, "Well, we the Numarx." And he said, "Okay, well, it's the Numarx." And that's what happened. So that happened in October of uh that happened in October when I turned 13. So that must have been October of 82. And that turned into what it turned into. I did a couple of other ones, actually, picked up another turntable because, like I said, I was only using one turntable and a pause deck and a mixer. How I don't even remember how I was doing it all. And then next thing I knew, they were calling me to do a gig. And when I was doing the gig, I was like, "Oh man, I just can't do this by myself." So I had to go out and solicit one of my boys and say, "Hey man, come on, I'll teach you how to do whatever it is you need to do." And I got the coolest guy that I could get because I'm the nerdy one. So I'm like, "Yeah, I need some cool people around." So I got the coolest dude that I could get. He came on with me, and we were next thing you know, we were DJing in front of, hundreds of people at an arena in December of 1982. It was crazy.